Hello, my friends. Welcome back. It is Tori here with Fox and Hazel. And either you've shown up through my YouTube channel, my blog, Fox and Hazel, maybe you're here from Page Flutter. Either way, welcome. Today, I'm just showing you guys my process for a really easy and fun sort of fall-inspired art journaling page. The paints I'm using here, so the first one was a acrylic by, I believe it's Pebeo. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. Anyway, it's just a studio acrylic in Napa Yellow. And then a acrylic gouache by Holbein that's in mustard. And so yeah, I'm just putting some color down. I almost never plan my art journaling pages. Most of them are all intuitive. I'm not a planner type, so this is just me figuring it out as I go. And so yeah, and I'm also using this pale pink gouache. So the mustard and pale pink I actually bought after I saw one of my friends, my art journaling friends, Alicia from Vine and Thistle, using it, and I was obsessed. And you know, of course, I obsessed, and I finally just bit the bullet and went and got my own. And so I believe I only bought them a day or two before I filmed this, and so hence why they're front and center in this page. And here I've grabbed some luminous red, which is also another gouache, and I'm just going to mix it with some of that mustard yellow to make my own orange. The mustard kind of counteracts the luminous quality of the red, so it's not quite so bright. It's sort of hard to see on camera because that red is like neon. It is so bright and so fantastic at the same time. I normally like to use quite a bit of neon in my work, but I was sort of trying to go for more of a muted fall vibe in this spread, sort of embrace those mustards and yellows and oranges that come with the season. So here, this is the free pumpkin printable that I've provided on my blog. If you came through Page Flutter, you'll see the link to my blog where you can download it. If you're here via YouTube, there's also going to be a link to that blog post in the description below where you can get these yourself. And what I've done here is I've printed it on tissue paper rather than like cardstock. And so now I can use it as a collage element. And there's a ton of tutorials online on how to print on tissue paper. The way that I found that works best for me is to run like a really thin line of like glue from a glue stick on the edge of a piece of cardstock and then glue down the tissue paper that way. The tape method didn't seem to work with my printer. It's kind of old and picky. And so the gluing method seemed to work better because it didn't have it didn't seem to want to jam as much, I guess. So yeah, you can get these on my blog, and I'll make sure the link is available. So if you want to use them in your art journaling pages, or if you want to use them in your planners, or like whatever you want, they're totally fair game, and they're free for any personal projects you have. And I know everyone is super crazy for the pumpkins. It's that time of year. And I personally am not a pumpkin fan. I like the look of pumpkins. I don't like the way pumpkins taste at all. So I like the way they look and I like to decorate them, but I'm not really a fan of eating them. So here actually I'm using some golden fluid paint. And I think it said gold iridescent fine, deep gold I think it was. Something like that. And this is a stencil from the amazing Stencil Girl website. They make killer stencils. I'm also on their design team, so I might be biased, but I love their stuff. This stencil is the Starlight stencil. I'll make sure there's a link to where you can buy it in the description below if you feel compelled to buy it. Yeah, and so I'm just adding it on here. I sort of, you know, as I was making this, of course, I see pumpkins and I instantly think of pumpkin spice because duh. And so I thought maybe this sort of speckled texture kind of spoke to that spice I was looking for, I guess, or thought of. And yeah, so here I'm going to use this actually you just saw the X's was actually a hand cut stencil that I made myself. And I'm just going to, you know, stencil it on some X's for why the heck not, right? If you want to make your own stencils, you can buy like official stencil plastic. I know there's an official word for it and I can't remember what it is. But this what I used here is actually a film transparency. So like, the old school overhead projectors, and your teacher wrote on them in marker and whatever. You can still buy those because I'm sure there's someone somewhere still uses overhead projectors. And I just bought some of that at my local like office supply store and hand cut it with like an X-Acto craft knife. And it worked really good. It isn't quite as thick as, store-bought or like commercially made stencils. It's quite a bit thinner, but it still works pretty good. And I quite like it. Kind of gives you a chance to make your own stencils if that's something you're into. And here I'm using a mermaid marker from Jane Davenport's collection, and I'm obsessed. I hunted these markers down for weeks because my local Michael's had them and then, understocked them, and then they were sold out. And I think I called that poor store like every 3 days for 2 weeks asking if they had them in. And, the universe was on my side, and I walked in and had a 50% off coupon when they had one set left in stock. So I snapped that sucker up, and I use them in pretty much every spread, every painting, everything. I love them. They're my favorite. And here I'm using a Stabilo all pencil or all marks pencil. I just picked this one up the other day too. It's orange. I was just using the white and the black before, and then I found this orange and yellow and red, I think. And so had to pick those up, right? Got to complete the collection. So I quite like using mark making in most of my spreads. As you can see, is quite a few of them are just sort of like random marks and the like everywhere. So everyone's got their own jam. I know there's quite a few people who have like more composed art journaling pages, and I'm always super envious of those who make really clean, like feminine, minimalist art journal pages. I have tried so hard to try and make those and I just can't. I don't know when to stop. They look like, if somebody else makes it, it looks gorgeous. When I make it, they look empty. Like, I just think there's too much negative space and I have to fill it in somehow. And so I'll just appreciate them from afar, from all those other talented feminine ladies who make those really girly art journal pages. How about you? Like, I would love to know what your art journaling style is. Like, are you more bold? Are you more minimalist? Do you like muted colors, bold colors? I always find that conversation about everyone's personal style super interesting, especially because I've been making art for as long as I can remember, but I've only been art journaling probably like 2.5 years now, and I literally still feel like I don't know what my style is. Even though, like, I know I've heard from other people they know what my style is, but I feel like I have no idea what my style is. I feel like I'm forever trying new things and, just, yeah. So I'd love to know what your style is, if you feel like you have a definitive style, or if you feel like you're still looking for what your signature thing is. And part of like finding your style is trying new things and finding out if you like it or not. And in this spread, I added those lovely random brown humps to the bottom of my page. And like literally as soon as I put them on there, I hated them. And I'm watching this video now and I still hate them. I like the rest of my page, but I hate those things. I don't know what I was thinking. So sometimes art journaling is that you don't always love everything you make, right? Sometimes we make ugly stuff, and that's okay because that's part of the process. And so I think later on in the video, I try to redeem these terrible brown humps I've made on the bottom of my page for whatever reason. So the pen I'm using here is I'm going to get it wrong. I think it's a Pentel Sign pen. That's probably wrong. I'll link to it in the description below. I can't remember it off the top of my head. It's really popular among the hand lettering and calligraphy crowd because it's got like a soft tip nib. So it works great. I actually use them for everything. I bought a ton at Christmas and used them for like all my journaling and all my, like in my daytimers and note taking and stuff like that, because I like the way that they change their weight because of that brush tip. And so yeah, here I'm just adding some more, details and stuff. I'm using that Stabilo all pencil in the red to kind of outline the pumpkin and add details. As I said, I'm pretty intuitive when it comes to my art journaling, so I never really have a plan. Sometimes my pages turn out great. Lots of times they turn out like a hot mess. I think this page ends up being a bit of a hot mess. I digress. So this is actually a new art journaling supply. Well, new to me. I just recently got them, these distress crayons from Tim Holtz. I've seen other art journalers use them, but I've never used them before. And they're quite fun to play with. They're a little different. I'm not super familiar with them, so they seem a little strange to me in some ways, but I like them because I like water-soluble mediums. So they're fun. I mean, they're a little strange only because I guess I don't know quite what to do with them. If you use them or have used them, I would love any tips or tricks, any suggestions in the comments would be awesome. Like I said, they're new to me, so I've done my share of Googling and YouTube watching, so any more tips and tricks would be totally awesome. And here I'm just adding a nice little fall inspired quote to my page. I enjoy hand lettering even though I don't practice it. So my hand lettering is not as nice as everything else you see out there, but I still like it. I think it adds a nice touch to my pages, and I think it's one of those things that if I cared enough to spend the time practicing, I'd probably be better at it, because isn't that true of everything if we actually spent the time practicing? But I don't. And so I could care less. Sometimes, I think we compare ourselves to what's online, and I watch a lot of hand lettering stuff on Instagram and always feel like mine's total garbage. And then I, have to remind myself that these are people who, that's their hobby. That's all they do is hand lettering. Like, that's their interest, and they're spending all their time practicing hand lettering just as much as I'm spending all my time making art. So you kind of trade one for the other. And I'm a bad person and forgot to accredit this quote to Oscar Wilde. So even though I did not write it on my page, that's who this lovely quote is from. And now I'm using one of my other favorite pens, which is a Uniball Signo Broad white gel pen. It works awesome. Oh, and these are fun. I forgot that I added these. These are some wood veneer stars that I embossed with some gold and copper and black embossing powder. So I bought this embossing powder, but I think it's like gold glitter embossing powder because it's got a weird texture when it dries. I mean, especially on the wood, but it's much more bumpy. So I think it has glitter added to it. Anyways, so these are some fun stars, and those are also just some craft paper stars that I punched out that I'm adding randomly because, I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm just adding stuff to the page. And yeah, I think this page is almost done. Oh yes, I grabbed some, I was trying to use my paint pen for this, but I grabbed some black paint just to add some black paint splatters to my page. Because sometimes you just gotta literally throw some paint around and get your phone out of the way to make sure you don't ruin it. So yeah, I think that's it. I hope that's it. Yeah, I think it is. So yeah, this is my sort of fall inspired pumpkin spice-esque art journaling page, guys. And it was fun to make. I think this video is done in double time. So I think I did this video, this page took me about 30 minutes, give or take. And that was mostly for letting things dry, as always, when it comes to art journaling. So yeah, that's it, guys. Thanks so much for watching and for checking out my cool little page I made. I'm going to tell you, it's not my favorite, but it was fun to do, and it was fun to do something sort of fall themed. If you are coming from a different source, if you head over to Page Flutter, there's actually a free set of fall inspired art journaling prompts that I would love for you to check out if you get a chance. If you loved this video, I would love for you to hit subscribe and check out more of my videos. Thanks so much, guys. Bye-bye.